Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a great weekend. Today we're going to be diving into the weird and wonderful world of CNFTs. NFTs on the Cardano blockchain. There is a lot of money being made at the moment, certainly with individuals getting in on the mints of these CNFTs and then relisting them on the secondary market. We're going to talk about that a little bit in this video. We're going to be diving into some of the projects on our watch list that we had essentially comprised, and we're going to be adding another project to this. Now, in the coming weeks, I'm going to be adding and revealing a number of projects that I also hold that I'm going to add to the watch list, but there's quite a lot that I've got to do before that. I've got to really check and do my due diligence on the individual projects that I'm going to list on here so that we can keep an eye on them with this series. But before I do that, like I say, there's a lot of due diligence that I have to do to make sure that it isn't a rug pull and that there's some real solid foundations that these projects are launching on. So we will add another one today, and then over the coming weeks, we're going to be adding quite a few more. We're getting into a number of different things. DAOs building on top of Cardano, or certainly DAOs trying to go after the CNFT market, could be a way of providing potentially passive income. So we'll get into that, like I say, next week mainly. But I'll touch on it a little bit today. We're also going to be talking about the Brightpalz launch. What a nightmare. It was a real poor show. One of the worst launches I've ever been, or one of the worst mints I've ever been a part of. And I know there was a lot of disappointment surrounding this due to the fact that essentially only 500 wallets got validated, and they took, or 100 wallets got confirmed via the bot, which they told you to wait for. And a lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people didn't even get a chance to buy a Brightpalz. Certainly individuals that have been following this project for a long time, they couldn't even mint, and it's something that some people have been waiting for a long time. So it's a real poor show. That being said, I still think Brightpalz is going to do well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. One thing that I'm now looking for is Soho Kids. I think this is going to see huge, a similar kind of story to what took place on Brightpalz. Hopefully they come up with a way to deal with the sort of volume seen on Discord with the bot, but this is another one that I'm really excited about, that if I'll certainly be adding to the watch list to come. So the CNFT market volume's kind of fluctuating based on what's popping and what's not, but we are seeing over a linear kind of time scale volume continue to grow for CNFTs, and you guys know that I think the CNFT boom has not happened or is anywhere near happening yet. I think this is something that's still to come. If you look at Ethereum, the NFTs built on Ethereum, it's got huge volume. I mean, celebrities aping into it and so on and so forth. I think Cardano is not only going to steal a portion of that market share, but also create its own. So I think there's a lot of volume still to come. And I think a lot of these floor prices are yet to rise. But remember, CNFT, very, very speculative, a lot more speculative than crypto, which is already speculative. But there's a lot to kind of, take into consideration. It's still a very new space, and there's a lot of danger and risk associated with that. So this, for me, is not a large part of my portfolio. This is something that I'm actually really enjoying buying CNFTs. Somewhat addictive, I must say. I do find myself FOMOing in every now and then, but it's something I'm enjoying, and I'm keeping it a very small percent, a percentage of 1% of my overall portfolio. So let's get into some of the projects that we have on our watch list. So we have Goat Tribe at 190. Let's take a look at Goat Tribe and see where they currently are today. Goat Tribe is currently at 199. So they've not really done a lot since we listed them on the 4th. But this is a project I still have high hopes for, and I still think the floor is going to rise with kind of growing awareness of the project. Remember, we're still very small within the space that we're in. The next one is the Space Ape Club, which we noted, I think, at 100. I actually got in a lot cheaper, around about 40. These are currently at 134. What you've got to remember with a lot of these projects that were considerably cheaper a week ago, 2 weeks ago, is that there's still people that are looking to take profits on them. They're not going to hold them. So you need to kind of raise the floor organically rather than this big influx of individuals coming in and buying it up at 40, then willing to sell it at 100. You need to get those people up so that the floor moves up to the majority of people who bought it at 100, so that there's less people willing to sell at those kind of prices. And that's all still to come. So I still hold all my Space Apes. You've got Chill Kongs. Now, this has not performed amazingly. We listed them at 750. They're now at 450. If these come any cheaper, I'll be willing to step into this project. You guys know that I don't actually own a Chill Kong, but I'm certainly willing to buy one. I'm just going to see where the floor kind of bottoms out. You know, if I start to see things moving back in the right direction, then I may have to sort of jump in. But I'm waiting to see where this is going to end. You know, we started looking at chill Kongs at around about 130 ADA. Still a lot of people that are going to be happy to get out at this price, and that are going to sort of FUD works in the same way for crypto as it works in the CNFT space. When the price starts to drop, people look to exit. They get scared out of their positions. But I think, you know, some of these projects have a real chance of doing very well into the future. So that's one that's dropped. So the other two are up, if albeit marginally. Bosscat Rocket Club we mentioned at 420. I got mine for about 320, 330, I think. The floor is at 1,400. So these have done very, very well. And I think they're going to continue to do so. They seem to have the right backing, the right kind of media publicity, and a very loyal following today. I've seen lots of pictures of tattoos and getting thrown around with the Bosscat Rocket Club logo on it, which is kind of bizarre. Not something I'll be doing anytime soon. Ada Apocalypse was another one, a project that we found cool. We thought it was a very cool project. We listed them at 60. They're currently at 68. So nothing great. They did see a huge uptick, and then they've kind of consolidated. They have got a drop coming up, I believe. I think if you hold 4 OG zombies, you get 1 airdrop to you. Something I'll definitely be taking part on. I still hold these guys and think they could do quite well. I like the look of the roadmap and so on. And really, one thing I like to do with my CNFT projects is get into projects that I actually like the look of. So all of these that I've mentioned are indeed that the projects I like the look of, that have some good fundamentals or foundations that could do well into the future as we see the CNFT space grow as a whole. So the next one that we're going to be adding is, of course, Brightpalz. Now, even though it was a disaster of a mint, it was a heartbreaking mint for some people. It's something that me and quite a few people that I know tried to get in on, but couldn't, due to the fact that when it came to minting, the way that they'd told us to mint via us sending our wallet addresses, getting them confirmed, and then being able to send the Cardano in order to mint it, that confirmation just never came, and they sold out within that time period. So it was a real nightmare. It was a bad mint, one of the worst mints I've been a part of. That being said, I still think this project is going to do well and could find itself as a blue chip crypto, potentially. It's all still very early on. You know, there's a similar project over on Ethereum that looks just like this, and this is why I think this was such a popular CNFT. The mint was unbelievably popular, and we saw that with the bot not being able to handle the transactions. That being said, I still own one. I got one for 200. I will reveal all my CNFTs at some point, just to show you guys that I do actually hold CNFTs. But this is a project that I think could do quite well. And the floor is currently 160, so we're going to put that down where it is today. I think over the long term, this is something that's going to continue to move up. So we'll put a 160 floor down, and we'll keep an eye on this one and kind of add it to the list with the rest of them. And I will compile an Excel spreadsheet and create some graphs from this so that you can have a bit more of a visual representation of how these are doing. It's a cool project, to be honest. Certainly some of the more expensive ones are great. I'm really gutted I didn't get to mint. So anyway, the mint was a disaster, but still, I do like the project. I do think the founders are definitely committed and shown a lot of willing, and they were very apologetic, which, you know, has got to be said. So yeah, Board Club also minted the other day. Interesting. Unsure whether I'll add these or not to my portfolio. Let me know what your thoughts are in the description. I know a lot of people like them. One thing I am getting into personally, and I'm not going to mention any on the channel for good reason, because I've not done enough due diligence on these projects to say, okay, look, I've checked them out, they seem okay, is DAOs, CNFT DAOs, because they could be huge and they could be a way to provide passive income. There's 2 that I currently own, and I will be revealing more as time progresses. Because I do think that DAOs could do very well, because the whole concept is a decentralized autonomous organization. So essentially what these DAOs do is they take the money generated from the mints often and they'll buy CNFTs. And as a DAO token holder, as a CNFT DAO token holder, you are entitled to a portion of that DAO, and you get a say, a portion of that DAO's holdings, and you get a say on what the DAO do and don't do. Some will actually receive some of the royalties from the DAO tokens trading back and forth as passive income just for being a DAO holder. But this is something we're going to cover in the coming week. One project that I'm really excited to launch are Soho Kids. This is something I'll definitely be trying to mint. So that's really the majority of what I have for you in this video. So it was Brightpalz that we added. Still very excited for this space. I'm seeing a huge amount of people getting into it, getting very excited about it, hanging out in a lot of the Discords. Some really bright individuals in there. Certainly I know quite a few people that are making an awful lot of money. I know a lot of people that made quite a lot of money from getting into Brightpalz for a 40 mint price. and essentially relisting them on JPEG or JPG.store for 200, 300, and certainly immediately after they were selling for that. So a lot of money to be made here. We will keep you up to date and get into some mints and how to do it and whatnot in later videos. That's really all I have for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evenings. Thank you very much for watching.